Okay. Hoya Friends, my name is Olivia and today we're going to be unboxing a Stromanthe Triostar that I ordered on Etsy about a week ago. The seller was in Florida and I live in New York, so the shipping distance isn't too far, which is generally how I like to keep it. I never want that situation where the plant arrives, you're so excited, and it's dead, and I have experienced that far too much. We're going to be talking a little bit about the care of a Stromanthe Triostar as well. I'm just excited to see what this bad boy looks like, so let's just jump right into it. Alright, so this is honestly kind of a different shaped box than I'm used to receiving, but I probably think this is better in terms of protection for the plant, so we'll see what kind of condition it's in. So I've decided that the scissors were not the best idea, and also my boyfriend was very concerned that I was holding the blade, so he was nice enough to give me his Leatherman Wave. So it's probably a better idea. All right, now that I struggled to get that box open, I am pulling out my plant. So she was taped in there in the inside so that kind of in shipping she wouldn't jostle around. You know, and she seems to be packed pretty well. She doesn't seem incredibly damaged. And she did come with a cute little kind of insert card with any questions, you know, asking if it came damaged, all that good stuff. So I'll probably read that afterwards, but really what I'm focused on is looking at this new beautiful baby. I'm just gonna go ahead and tear right into this because I'm too excited to wait. Also, I have my little dog over here, Kylo, who is very interested in what's going on. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he hears a box and he thinks it might be his bark box. So it is not, but I do know this is a pet safe plant, so it's non-toxic. It is not listed on the ASPCA's list of toxic plants, so you know, if he did take a little nibble, he was too curious, nothing terrible would happen, but I'm definitely always very cautious, especially with new plants in my home. Kind of, you know, my dogs like to check out what's new in the home, so try to be careful with the plants. She generally looks like she's packed pretty well. She is kind of saran wrapped in here to keep the moisture in the pot, that way she doesn't dry out. Nothing happens really to her that would be all that bad. The soil doesn't spill out and get everywhere, which is definitely great. I don't love to have soil all over my house, although with the amount of plants I have, it's a little bit unavoidable sometimes. You know, there is a little bit of drying just on first note to this leaf right here, so it is pretty damaged. The variegation on this is really beautiful, but I'm definitely a little bit concerned about this sort of crisping right here. But it's nothing I can't rehab, but just to be aware of that, that is just something I'm noticing right off the bat. There she is. She has been kind of unprisoned from her little jail cell. Other than kind of the little bit of crisping on this leaf, I am generally very pleased with the condition this plant arrived to me in. The variegation is quite beautifully dispersed. It still has a lot of that cream while also maintaining a lot of that greenery. And the green parts of the plant is the only part of the plant that provides chlorophyll, which is very important in terms of, you know, photosynthesizing the plant. It can't get nutrients out of these cream portions. So if you notice a leaf that grows on really any variegated plant of yours, you know, they're the most beautiful, but you're gonna wanna cut them off because the plant is expending so much of its energy kind of trying to create a healthy leaf that it's going to damage the overall health of your plant because, you know, it really cannot produce any energy out of an all white variegated leaf. So you're really going to want to just be a little bit cautious about that. This one is a little bit heavily variegated. It is still, you know, it does have those green portions, but you do just want to be a little bit cautious with that. But I think all points considered, I am so excited to put this in my collection. So when we talk about care for a Stromanthe Triostar, the first thing we have to talk about is light. So if you have a very dark apartment, unfortunately the Stromanthe Triostar is not for you. There are many other varietals that we will talk about in other videos on my channel that will work for low light. But for the Stromanthe Triostar, you want medium to high indirect sunlight. So this plant does not like direct sunlight. You'll start to see browning on the tips of the leaves. You'll start to see burning. It will not be the best living conditions with direct sunlight or too low light. So you want to find the perfect place in your home where it's still getting light, but it's not too intense for it. In the proper living conditions, this plant can grow up to 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. So if you do want it to grow, you know, give it as much soil as possible in the perfect living conditions. The second thing that's most important to talk about in terms of a Stromanthe Triostar is humidity. Now this plant does like humidity. If it's not given the proper humidity, it will throw temper tantrums. She's not by any means an easy care plant. I wouldn't say she's extremely hard, but she does let you know when she's unhappy. So she likes a humidity between 40 and 60%. So what I recommend is having a humidifier in your home. So if you keep most of your plants in your living room, having a large humidifier will do wonders. You can control the percentage of humidity in your home. You can have moisture meters. There are many different ways of making sure the humidity in your home are correct. But definitely the higher humidity for a Stromanthe, really most Calatheas and other plants in the kind of family that a Stromanthe is in, definitely preferable. So another option for creating a humid environment for the Stromanthe Triostar or other plants even that want a more humid environment is placing a tray full of stones with about 1 inch of water. You can either place that plant directly on the tray or you can place it nearby, and as the water evaporates, it will create moisture in the air, increasing the humidity level. Kind of along those lines, if you don't have a tray, you don't have stones sitting around, you can fill up any containers around your home that you have. So vases, watering cans, other things like that. Fill them with water and place them around your home, and the same thing goes. As that water evaporates, it will fill your air with moisture. And that's very beneficial to Stromanthes, Calatheas, and other plants, and it doesn't hurt your other plants that don't necessarily love humidity either. So in terms of watering, a Stromanthe Triostar definitely does like to be kept moist. So I typically water mine once a week. I will check with my finger in the first inch of the soil. If that's dry, that's my indication to water. Now, if you do wait longer than that to water, it will start to curl up on itself, and that's sort of your indication that it is requiring more water. So in terms of potting, I actually like to keep it in its plastic nursery pot. This helps retain a little bit of that moisture, but it also has wonderful drainage in the bottom, because you do want to be careful about root rot. Although these like to be kept moist, they do not like to sit in water. They are very susceptible to root rot, so just be careful about that. So with this nursery pot, I'll probably set this in a more decorative pot. I'll make sure to steer clear of terracotta, because those do seep a lot of the moisture out of the soil, which for something like a succulent or things that like to be kept dry, that's wonderful. But for a plant like this, I'll keep it in this plastic nursery pot and then I'll transplant it to something, making sure it has wonderful drainage. In terms of soil, it's the same thing. You want it to not be so either perlite heavy that all the water is gone immediately, but you do want to make sure that it's well draining. You really, just to stress it enough, do not want root rot. This thing is so beautiful, you don't want to see it die. So steering clear of terracotta, but definitely watering it enough is very important. So in terms of feeding a Stromanthe Triostar, during the growing months, which are typically, summer, spring, I will feed this plant about once a month. The fertilizer I prefer are worm castings, and I will link what I use down below. But during sort of the winter off seasons, non-growing seasons, I honestly don't feed very often. I might feed every 2 to 3 months, but I don't find it to be all that integral because the plant generally goes into a little bit of hibernation, but definitely during the growing seasons, I will do once a month. And these will have huge growth spurts, sort of, anything in the Stromanthe Calathea family will very much enjoy a feeding every month. And I think it'll definitely expedite sort of your growing process and make these way more beautiful. So that's all I have for you on the Stromanthe Triostar. If you do have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button. I do have more really exciting new houseplants coming in the mail. Some of them are rare, some of them are not, but all of them are very, very, very beautiful. So please stay tuned for that. I will be posting every Friday, and I can't wait to see you on my next one. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.